Hello guys, this is Rattue498 and this is a 1v1 commentary battle on Napoleon Total War. I'm fighting AngelosAG and I am playing as the Ottomans, and this is my build. I've got 3 Sultan Guard, I have got 2 Sephi Cavalry, I'm going to have 5 Lines, 2 Militia, 4 Bashi Bazooks, 3 Shooter Cav, and a General. I believe that's all of them. Okay, my opponent, he's going to be playing as Prussia. He has got a very standard build. He's got 5 lights. He has 4 foot guard. He has 3 musketeers. He has 5 cav units, 4 lancers and the Freikorps. And he has the what's the special unit called? The Life Guard, is it? The Life Regiment? Something like that anyway. He's got one of them as well. And a general. Okay. So, I've basically gone really cav heavy in this build. I've got about 9 cav units, which is pretty much, including my general, I think it's 10. So, that's half my army basically is cav. The idea is going to be to kind of try and break his formation with the Bashi Bazooks, and then get my cav to be able to finish them off. My lines are there to kind of protect against counter cav charges, and also to finish off any squares that are laying around. So this is the first game I've played of Napoleon in about 2 weeks, so very rusty. So my attack isn't great, but it gets better as it goes on. So okay, so my militia are in front, lines behind, Bashi Bazooks behind that, and Cav force behind that. I've got Cav now gone behind my opponent, and Cav to the right. My opponent's lights are now shooting off. They're going to destroy my meat shields pretty quickly. Oh, Cav now going to charge through. I'm going to try and get rid of these light units first. It's really important to get rid of these. Their strongest units are their light units, so the sooner I get rid of them the better. Now this is where I screw up here on the attack. I'm concentrating on the other side. These units, I'm sure I ordered them into attack, but I didn't, so they went really slow, so I screwed up there. In the centre, my cav are going through. On the rear, my cav are moving round. I've got cav charges coming in against me on this side, so I managed to form up square on these. I move my Bashi Bazooks out of the way. They then switch targets, and they're going to hit into my meat shield. I'm going to send my cav through. These are my shooter cav. They're going to go through now, and they're going to start attacking the light units. And these are pretty expendable, really. They've got a chevron, maybe 2 on each, so but they're pretty expendable. My cav come in from behind and attack his cav, which was stationary, so they're going to do a good job against them. My Bashi Bazooks, as I said, are going to go in and they're going to try and break any squares that have formed. So after they go in, I'm going to send my cav through to try and deal with those squares. He fails to form square on the other units, and my cav managed to get rid of his cav and also get into the back of his line units over there. On this flank, I knew I was failing on this flank, so I kind of pulled everything I could away from it. Kind of trying to ignore that flank now and just sacrifice that line unit. So my Bashi Bazooks are going to go in. My cav are already engaged with the light and the line unit there. As you can see, he's going to try and reform up another line coming around to the flank of me. But everything in the centre and to the right now is pretty much being destroyed. He's got 1 foot guard unit left to the right. As you can see at the top of the screen, I've got a Palestinian Auxiliaire unit, or whatever they're called, which is still at the back, which is come back from right, which I haven't noticed yet. So now I'm going to keep the momentum going with these cav units and these melee units down the bottom, and I'm just going to send them charging straight through. When you're playing with Ottomans, basically there's no fucking around. Just get involved and get into them, and just let them do what they're good at, really. So the quicker I can get into these units, the better. My lines are going to form up and they're going to take on his longer line, and I'm going to try and deal with all these units down here with my cav and my sword units. So this line unit here is fighting the foot guard. They're going to get beat, but that's fine. It's keeping that foot guard out of the way to the sake of one of my line units, so it's not a problem to me. Don't mind that being out of the way. My opponent sends a cav charge in, so I send a cav charge in to counter him. Here he's got 2 foot guard units. As I said, he had a lot of foot guards, which caused me a problem, really. If you're playing against Ottomans, really, the more elite units you have, the better. As my Bashi Bazooks would have walked through his musketeer units, whereas these foot guard units are a lot more difficult to beat. As you can see here, my cav are getting caught up on the squares. The Bashi Bazooks aren't doing a quick enough job breaking these squares down for me. So I decided to change, and I'm going to get into his light unit and his foot guard unit. When I'm encountering generals, I try not to square unless I need to. You still shoot off, and every bullet counts really. If I kill his general, I stand a much better chance of winning this, considering all the foot guard units he's got left. When we're looking at it to start with, I thought it was going really well, but at this kind of point in the battle, I'm thinking it's probably not going quite so well anymore, and I'm a little bit concerned about it, so I do kind of try and kill this general off now. So I send my cav units into the general. My line units are still shooting off, but with all these foot guard units around, it's causing me a huge problem. So I managed to kill that general off, so my cav are now going to go back through. Basically the problem that I've got is these line units for the Ottomans aren't doing a good enough job shooting up everything in front of it. So even though my cav are going in, making the squares and trying to sort it out, they're just not doing a good enough job. This guy's micro is pretty good. He's forming squares on most of the occasions, which is also causing me a problem. My cav aren't reacting fast enough. I've got heavy lancers, which are slow, so he can see cav charges coming. But as you can see here, I'm forming up squares, they just don't seem to really be killing anybody. So that's really my main problem at the moment, is the fact that my lines are just not doing anything. So they're shooting against squares, but they're still hardly killing anything at all. And every time he pulls out of a square, he does the correct thing. He pulls his lines back, coming out of a square, which is good from him. And now I've got 3 line units, a couple of cav units, and a Palestinian auxiliary, or whatever you call them, and my general left. So, but he's got 3 foot guards and a musketeer unit, so it's kind of it's going to be close, really. It's going to be pretty close. So my cav are going out. I'm trying to slow him up. I'm going to get my lines moving now. I'm going to get them formed up in one line. As you can see, formed up a square again. Another annoying thing. So my lines are going to come in now. As you can see where they're going to be positioned. Basically, I've got 2 in a straight line and 1 going around the flank. The flank is basically there because I know when he comes out of this square, he's going to try and pull back, and I can get the extra shot off on him if I pull that one to the side. So that's basically the idea. And then I'm going to chuck him forward again, as he's pulled out before I reformed up. So my cav are going to come back in again. This time I moved in a little bit closer than I did the time before. So I'm hoping to be able to get some shots off him this time. But now basically all I've got left is a couple of line units and a Palestinian auxiliary.
Our men are running, sir.
So these guys are going to be not very good against these foot guards, to be honest with you. So I'm a little bit concerned now as to whether or not I'm going to be able to win this. I'm going to have to use my general well, as it's my only cav unit left. My opponents send cav charges in down the bottom, or a line unit down there fighting with a foot guard unit. Not really fussed about that at the moment. I want to concentrate on what's going on up here. I noticed that my opponents had one of his foot guard units come back from routing. So I'm going to have to move up, and I'm going to have to kill off that other foot guard unit before the other one comes down. So it's going to be quite important that I get that unit gone. My general went in to make the line unit, the musketeer unit, to the left square. I want to get rid of that guy as well as quickly as possible. So my general's going to come back through again. His general's gone into one of my line units. But my general's going to come back through again, and I'm hoping to try and make this guy square. I've really got to get rid of this line unit as well. My my Palestinian guys and my line unit have moved up to try and get rid of this foot guard unit before his other foot guard unit comes down, as you can see there. So if I can have 2 shooting on 1, it probably evens things out with the muskets, with the foot guards. Just showing you there, his general died. Sorry, I'd wanted to get rid of it. So over on this side, I've still got units firing off. Because he's lost his general, I'd say that's probably the only reason I actually won this from this point. But these lines just did sod all, really. I thought everything was going really well, but these lines just didn't do anything. So my general's going to go through now. He's going to finish off these units. These units can't square anymore. So that was basically the idea. Now this general's going to come through. Don't really care if I lose him now, as long as these units die. One of my units has run out of ammunition, so I've had to go in melee. At the top of the screen to the right. And they're going to go in for melee. They're not going to do a great deal of damage. There's only a few of them left. But they do enough, and they rattle. But still, there we go. They did a little bit. So I've got 1 foot guard unit left to fight. I've got a oh, and a little musketeer unit as well. I've got a Palestinian and a line unit and my general. So this is going to be really tight, and it is, because these foot guards won't rout very easily. Got a chevron on them too. They're not going to rout too easy. So his musketeer unit has started firing off at my line. Luckily it's my line, so my line are going to get some good shots off back, and they should be able to do enough damage to those guys to rout them away pretty quickly. My general's going to come in, so he's going to pull himself backwards, and I turn and I pull away. It's not interested in me chasing him. So from this flank, my his foot guard unit is now engaged with my Palestinians, and my Palestinians got the first shot off, and because he's had no general, he managed to rout away there, so I was pretty lucky. So at the end of the day in this game I was pretty lucky. As I said, it was my first game in quite a while. I'm going to start playing it a bit more, but realistically it went wrong from the attack. Then I started to think it was going a lot better, and then it all just kind of went wrong again. But this was a really good game to my opponent. I'd like to thank him for playing. I'd like to thank everyone for watching. Please rate, comment and subscribe. Sorry I haven't been doing so much Napoleon lately, but I will be doing a lot more now, because I've noticed that basically I'm losing it a little bit, so I'm going to start playing it a bit more. But there we go. So thank you very much guys, and that's the end of the battle. The end screen will come up, and I'll see you later on. Bye bye.